Nights on Innistrad grow longer. Werewolf attacks are more frequent and ferocious. Can balance be restored before the sun sets for good? Cast powerful double-sided creatures with the power to transform on the battlefield. When day turns to night, it's lights out. Hello everyone, my name is Elspeth, you're watching the Planeswalker Pantheon, and today we are opening up a draft booster box of the latest set for Magic the Gathering, Innistrad Midnight Hunt. Anyways, enough talk, let's do this, shall we? Alright, we'll just pop this beautiful little seal right here. And we'll rip into this like a werewolf, shall we? Alright. Of course, as always, 36 packs of the latest set. And we shall do this. Alright, first up, I believe these are Japanese style packs, so I believe our good stuff is at the front, all ready to go. Alright, so we've got our flip card, our token, we've got a foil Geist Wave, our, ooh, are they doing etched foils? Because that feels really weird. That feels real strange. Sorry, that caught me off guard. Our wonderful island. And our first rare is the Curse of Shaken Faith. So for 1 in a red, an enchantment or a curse. Enchant player. Whenever enchanted player casts a spell other than the first spell they cast on each turn or copies of a spell, it deals 2 damage to them. So nice little response to the things that we saw in Strixhaven. Got Chaplain of Arms, Blood Tithe Collector, and Faithful Mending as our uncommons. Alright, so we'll just flick through the rest of these. Let's be real, this was code-named in R&D as Olivia's Midnight Runners. If you're old enough to know that reference, thank you for indulging me in that. Alright, so we've got another checklist card, a human. Oh, we got a foil rare of the box, which is Burn Down the House. So for 3 and 2 red, you get a sorcery. Choose one, burn down the house, deals 5 damage to each creature and each planeswalker. Or you create 3 1/1 red devil creature tokens with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. They gain haste until end of turn. Got a swamp, and our other rare is Sigada's Splendor. So for 2 and 2 white, you get an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you note your life total. Beginning of your upkeep, draw a card if your life total is greater than or equal to the last noted life total. Then note your life total, and whenever you cast a flight spell, you gain 1 life. We also have a Flame Channeler, Cathartic Pyre, and a Storm Skrillex. Flick through these. I shall do a quick rearrangement. We'll bring this back here. Commons. Uncommons. Lands. Res tokens. How's that? That looks and feels a lot better to me. Alright, next up. Alright, so we've got this, we've got our day-night card, we've got our mountain, and our rare is Siphon Insight. So for a blue and a black in an instant, with the top 2 cards of target opponent's library, exile one of them face down and put the other one on the bottom of that library. You may look at and play the exiled card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any colour to cast that spell. And we've got flashback back in Innistrad, so you can flash it back for 1 blue and a black. So for those who aren't familiar with flashback, it's if you cast a spell, it goes into your graveyard where you can cast it for its flashback cost, and you exile it after you've casted it the second time. Got Covered Purse, Faithful Mending, and Rise of the Ants as our uncommons, and we will flick through the rest of these. I've played actually a few games of Sealed, thanks to Arena, because I've had a whole heap of, what's it called? Player Sealed tokens sort of stashed up, because I don't know, I guess COVID and other reasons sort of won't get me excited to play Arena just in general when I always had hope, I guess. Got a card there, we've got our basic. Oh, we've actually got our first mythic of the box. I nearly drop it. It's Poppet Stitcher. So for 2 and a blue, you get a creature, human, wizard, so 2/3. When you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more creature tokens, you may transform Poppet Stitcher. Poppet Stitcher then transforms into Poppet Factory. It's an artifact. Creature tokens you control lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 3/3. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may transform Poppet Factory. So that's a nice one to get. We've also got a nice bit of Foul Play, Rite of Oblivion, and Obsessive Astronomer as our uncommons. And we'll flick through the rest of these. Alright, next up. Yeah, Poppet Stitcher I think is going to be an absolute star in Standard. There's actually a lot of things I'm excited about. Throne, as much as I enjoyed Throne, and, I mean, enjoyed is probably a hard term to use, but I'm just happy that new things are going to be in the format. Planes. Oh, we've got Lisa, Forgotten Archangel here. So for 2 white and a black, you get a legendary creature angel. It's a 4/5 with flying and lifelink. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, return that card to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. We've also got Kessig Naturalist, Seize the Storm, and Contortionist Troop as our uncommons in this pack. Yeah, I've sort of dabbled around. Black-red seems really strong in this format from what I've seen. Just some of the best removal spells I think I've seen in a hot while. Just at all stages of rarity. Got our zombie with Decay. Decay is a new mechanic. Got our planes, and I've already flashed the card next to it. It's Galvanic Iteration. So for a blue and a red, you get an instant. When you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy, and you can flash it back for 1 blue and a red. Got a Hound Tamer, Blade Stitch Scarb, and Broodweaver as our uncommons. But yeah, Decayed is a thing that they've attached to zombie tokens for this set. Basically, they can't block, they can attack. However, at the end of combat, they will be sacrificed. So they're not a permanent issue, but hey, if you find a way, say like Poppet Stitcher, to remove that ability, well, you're creating a fun time for everyone. Got a Beast, Mountain, and our rare is a Falcon Wrath Pit Fighter. So single red, you get a creature vampire where it's a 2/1. For 1 and a red, you can discard a card, sacrifice a vampire, draw 2 cards. Activate this only if an opponent lost life this turn. Note, it says a vampire, so it can be this one if you really are desperate for cards. But it's a good little draw engine for the vampires deck. So we've got a Hound Tamer, Scarab Wrangler, and Necrosynthesis as our uncommons. Consider is a nice little card there to see that now exists. It's opt, but it puts it into the graveyard instead. I mean, it was only a matter of time since we got opt that we'd have sort of not an anti-opt, but like a reverse version of it, I think. Alright, so that. Got our island, and we've got another mythic here. It's the Meat Hook Massacre. Hello, Leatherface. So for X and 2 black, you get a legendary enchantment. When the Meat Hook Massacre enters the battlefield, each creature gets -X until end of turn. Whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. When a creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life. When a creature an opponent controls dies, you gain 1 life. This does gross things in both limited and in constructed. So we've got a Death Bonnet Sprout, a Blood Tithe Collector, and a Corpse Cobble as our uncommons. Yeah, I've just seen so many ways that the Meat Hook Massacre just goes off very, very well. Alright, next. Alright, so Forest, and we've got another mythic. That's 2 in a row now. We've got good old Ren and 7. So for 3 and 2 green, you get a legendary Planeswalker Ren. She starts at 5 loyalty, and it has 4 abilities. Count them up, that's 4. +1, reveal the top 4 cards of your library, put all land cards revealed this way into your hand, and the rest into your graveyard. So you get mulch, basically. 0, put any number of land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tab, so basically hyper ramps. -3, create a green tree for creature with reach, and this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control, so at minimum you're creating a 5/5. And then -8, return all permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. You get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. Nicely done. We've got a nice Ren 7. We've got a Outland Liberator, Ghoulish Procession, and Join the Dance as our uncommons for the pack. And I mean, we see all these commons so many times, I'm not going to make another Midnight Runners joke a second time. Alright, next up. Alright, so we've got a beast, we've got an island. Oh, we've got a Brutal Cathar as in the alternate framework. So for 2 and a white, you get a creature, human, soldier, werewolf. It's a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield or transforms into Brutal Cathar, exile target creature an opponent controls until this creature leaves the battlefield, and it has Daybound where it can transform into Moonrage Brood. So it's a creature werewolf to 3 through first strike. It has ward of paying 3 life, and it has Nightbound. So that's our rare for the pack. So we've also got a Dualcraft Trainer, a Corpse Cobble, and a Firement Sage as our uncommons right here. So yeah, I wasn't expecting to see a very nice alter art rare in that pack at all. Next up. But yeah, Brutal Cathar, I can't wait to sort of get more rare wild cards in Arena to build mono white aggro, because I think it's going to be very good. Alright, so got that. We have a bird. We've got a foil Raise the Effigy. We've got, yeah, I think they've either done something really weird with this box, or they're sort of trying to find a weird mid-ground between, because the second foil I've opened, between like the matte foils and the normal foils, which is interesting. Got a swamp, and our rare for the pack is Unnatural Growth. So for 1 and 4 green, you get an enchantment. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until the end of turn. We've also got a Spell Rune Painter in the cool alt art. Lunar Frenzy and Hungry for More as our uncommons. So there's some really nice red cards in there if I was to draft that pack. But let's be real, that Unnatural Growth is kind of insane. But I think I'd probably... Oh, that's actually kind of close. I actually have to think on that a little bit and sort of get some more personal data. Alright, so I've got our Day and Night card. We've got one of these. We've got a foil Sunset Revelry. Who doesn't love timely reinforcements? Right there. Yeah, I think they're trying to find like a weird in-between of the etched foils and regular foils. An island. Our rare is a Curse of Surveillance. So for 4 and a blue, an enchantment or a curse. Enchant player. At the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, any number of target players other than that player each draw cards equal to the number of curses attached to that player. We have a Beloved Beggar, Defend the Celestus, and Dualcraft Trainer as our uncommons. Gonna flip through the rest. Blade Brand's back. It's a nice little combat trick. Next up. Alright, so we've got our tracker, we've got a token, we've got a foil Vampire Interloper, got a swamp, and our rare is Patrician Geist. So for 2 and a blue, you get a creature Spirit Knight, so 2/2 with flying. Other spirits you control get +1/+1. Spells you cast from your graveyard cost 1 less to cast. Got a Spell Ring Painter, Dissipate, and Seize the Storm. Nice to see Dissipate back in Standard. It's a cancel with upside, who doesn't love that? And especially with exiling things, it actually would be a little bit more relevant and limited than what a normal world cancel would be. Alright, so got our checklist. Got one of the devil tokens for Burn Down the House. Got a forest. And we have Slowgark the Overslime. So for 1, a green and a blue, you get a legendary creature Ooze. It's a 3/3 trample. Whenever a land is put into your graveyard from anywhere, put a +1/+1 counter on Slowgark the Overslime. Remove 3 +1/+1 counters from Slowgark to return it to its owner's hand. And when it leaves the battlefield, return up to 3 target land cards from your graveyard to your hand. Hey, and we've... Oh yeah, this is another big thing. Delver of Secrets is now back in Standard. It's now in Historic for those who play Arena. I've seen it around. Delver's not bad. It's not as, insane as it was the original time, but hey, it's nice to see an old friend back. Also got Loyal Griff and Anonymous Roost as our uncommons. Oh, we've got Shady Traveller in the cool alternate artwork. I always like to show these off, even though they're commons. And Eaten Alive is insane removal, especially if you've got, very easily disposed of bodies, say with Decayed. Alright, next up. Alright, so we've got a checklist card, we've got a token, we've got our mountain, And we've got Pithing Needle, so it's nice to see Pithing Needle back in standard again. Although this art is probably the creepiest one out of a lot of them. I mean, thank you, Innistrad, for giving me Nightmare Fuel. So for a single mana, get an artifact. As it enters the battlefield, choose a card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name can't be activated unless the mana abilities. Hint, if you're playing Legacy or Vintage or whatever, this actually stops fetch lands. Got an Ambitious Farmhand, Voldaran Ambusher, and Vivisection as our uncommons, and we will flick through the rest of these. Alright. Next up. Alright, checklist card, day-night card, we've got a mountain, and we've actually got a haunted ridge, so this is actually one of the new land cycle. It's the slow lands rather than the fast lands. So it's a land, when it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands, and you can tap it for black and a red. We also have a Mysterious Tome, Storm, Skrillex, and Dreadhound as our uncommons. Oh, we've got a nice Harvesttide Infiltrator in the alternate frame, which I will always be happy to show off. And next up. So we have our checklist card, our spirit token, which I've never actually seen the spirit tokens for this set. That's really cool. Got our island, and our rare is a Ghoul Caller's Harvest. So for a black and a green, you get a sorcery. Create X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens with Decay, where X is half the number of creature cards in your graveyard rounded up, and you can flash it back for 3, a black and a green. Oh, we've got a Fameblade Brigand, Fameblade Eviscerator as our uncommon, the cool alternate frame, Nebelgast Intruder, and a Moonsilver Key as our uncommons. Alright. Alright, next up. Alright, got a checklist card, we've got our token, we've got a plans, and we've got Denic, Pious Apprentice. So for a white and a blue, you get a legendary creature, human soldier, it's a 2/3 lifelink. Cards in graveyards can't be the target of spells or abilities, and you can disturb them for 2, a white and a blue. Disturb is basically creature flashback, where if it's in your graveyard, you can pay the disturb cost, and you'll get the flip side, which is, for this one, Denic, Pious Apparition. So it's a 3/2 flying. Whenever one or more creature cards are put into graveyards from anywhere, investigate. This ability only triggers once each turn, and if it would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. We have also an Arcane Fusion, Infernal Grasp, which is great removal, and Unnatural Moonrise, which is our commons. We have a Tireless Hauler in the cool alternate artwork there as well. Alright, next up. I just want to draft more of this set. I need more of this set in my veins. Innistrad's always a good format, I find, for draft. Oh, we've got an Elemental. I've never actually seen the Elemental for this set. I know with the card that it comes from, this is the first time I've seen this cool Elemental. Got a plains, and our rare. Oh, we've got another mythic. It's Leah, Disciple of the Drowned. So for 3/2 blue, you get a legendary creature, human wizard, it's a 3/4. Spells can't be countered. That includes your opponent's. Kind of something I didn't realize when I first saw this card. Each instant and sorcery card in your graveyard has flashback. The flashback cost is equal to that card's mana cost. So a little thing with this, if you have a spell with flashback in your graveyard and you have Leah out in play, you actually can get a caster for the normal cost as well. We have Devoted Graftkeeper, Ghoulish Procession, and Odric's Outrider as our uncommons, and we will flip through the rest of these. I'm only showing the cool alternate artworks, I think. Next pack. Alright, so we've got this, we've got a wolf, we've got a mountain. Oh, we've got another alternate artwork card. We've got Gisa, Glorious Resurrector. So for 2 and 2 black legendary creature, you get a human wizard, it's a 4/4. If a creature an opponent controls would die, exile it instead. At the beginning of your upkeep, put all creature cards exiled with Geisa, Glorious, Resurrector onto the battlefield under your control. They gain Decayed. This can snowball very, very quickly. You can just mass your opponent's creatures and then just swing in for the win. You get all the ATB triggers. There's just so much there. And then this art is awesome looking. Also got a Covert Cutpurse, a Fading Hope, and another old friend from Innistrad's past. Therma Alchemist is back in Standard as well. Alright, we will flick through the rest of these. But yeah, I'm happy that they've brought back at least one card from both of the previous Innistrad blocks. With Thermal Alchemist from the more newer one, and then Delver. Because I think they were honestly fan favourites from their respective sets. Got this. We've got a bird token right here. A forest, and our rare is Catilda Dawnheart Prime. So for a green and white, you get a legendary creature, human warlock. It's a 1/1. Has protection from werewolves. Human creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any of this creature's colours. And for 4 green and a white and tap, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So great for enabling the Coven ability. We have a Vengeful Strangler, Turn the Earth, and Root Coil Creeper as our uncommons. And we will quickly flick through the rest of these. Alright, next up. Also, I'm kind of happy that Thermal Alchemist is that uncommon, because I think that's where it should have been when it was first printed, because seeing that thing at common, wow, you could literally build like whole decks out of it. Alright, so we've got our checklist card. Oh, we've got the Spider token. Oh, we've actually got a foil mythic in Arlen the Pax Hope. So we've got both Planeswalkers. I think there might be a third one that I'm missing out in my own head. So for 2 red and a green, you get a legendary Planeswalker Arlen, so starts at 4 loyalty. Has Daybound. +1, until your next turn, you may cast creature spells as though they had flash, and each creature you control enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. -3 to create 2/2/2 green wolf creature tokens, and if she transforms, she is Arlen the Moon's Fury. So legendary Planeswalker Arlen, Nightbound, still 4 loyalty, but if you flip and Chapman has more loyalty, that's where she starts. +2 to add red and green, and 0 to have her become a 5/5 werewolf creature with trample, indestructible, and haste. Because it was a flip rare in foil, we'll also have a second rare, which is kind of cool. And the alternate artworks just keep on coming in this box. So we've got Ludwig Necrogenius. So for a blue and a black, you get a legendary creature, human wizard's a 2/3. When enters the battlefield or attacks, you mill a card. For X, 2 blue and 2 black, exile X creature cards from your graveyard, transform Ludwig, X can't be 0, activate only as a sorcery, and he transforms into Olag, Ludwig's Hubris. So it's a legendary creature zombie, it's a 4/4. As it transforms into Olag, it becomes a copy of a creature card exiled with it, except its name is Olag. It's a 4/4, and it's a legendary blue and black zombie in addition to its other types and colours. Put a number of +1/+1 counters on Olag equal to the number of creature cards exiled with it. And hey, we got a Strictly Better Shock. It finally happened. Shock is no longer good enough anymore. In play with Fire as one of our uncommons, Digraph Rebirth, and Clear Shot. And we've got our commons right here. But yeah, man, we've seen the day where Shock is no longer, a good enough spell anymore. We've hit that point, which is weird to think about. Alright, so we've got a foil Corpse Cobble right there as our foil. Got a swamp, and our rare is Adeline Resplendent Cathar. So for 1 and 2 white, your legendary creature, human knight, it's a Starfall with Vigilance. Adeline's power is equal to the number of creatures you control. Whenever you attack for each opponent, create a 1/1 human creature token that's tapped and attacking a player or a planeswalker they control. We've also got a Fameblade Brigand, Sunset Revelry, and a Morbid Opportunist as our uncommons to the pack. Man, the amount of alt arts that I've hit, and the foil Arwen, jeez. This is a good box. This is a real good one. Alright. Day Night Zombie token. We've got a Stuffed Bear as our uncommon. Sorry, as our foil. Got a Swamp, and again, more with the alt art. alt art rares. We got Old Stick Fingers. So for X green, black and a green, you get a legendary creature Horus the Star. When you cast a spell, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X creature cards. Put all creature cards revealed this way into your graveyard, then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Old Stick Fingers' power and toughness are each equal to the number of creature cards in your graveyard. We've also got a Bereaved Survivor, Dawnheart Mentor, and Borrowed Time as our uncommons. Man, I love all these alternate artworks. Like, I think this is probably... I know I keep saying this with every set I open, but man, they are just outdoing themselves with these alternate art treatments. Alright, so we've got checklist card. Oh, we've got the Ooze token. Hey, it's Flubber. I just realised. It's Flubber. Got an island. And we've got a normal Geisa. I'm not going to reread it, but hey, we get to see Geisa in her normal artwork. Got a Mysterious Tome, Grizzly Ghoul, and a Firement Sage as our uncommons for the pack. Alright. So that's not bad. This is the first duplicate rare, I think, that we've hit in the box. Which I'm not going to complain about, because Geisa is kind of insane. Alright, so checklist card. Insect token, planes, and our rare is the Sludge Monster. It's not that, it's a Sludge Monster. So for 3 and 2 blue, you get a creature Horror to 5/5. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, put a slime counter on up to one other target creature. Non-horror creatures with slime counters on them lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 2/2. Hey, hint, put them on your decayed zombies, and you get to keep them. We've got a Burly Breaker, Flesh Taker, which, man, this artwork is creepy, and a Field of Ruin as our uncommons for this pack. Alright, those are our commons there. Next up. Alright. Zombie token. We've got a Foil of Static Awakener. This is actually a very good one-drop and limited. We've got an island, and our rare is Storm the Festival. So it's people have seen online joking about this as being the fixed collected company. So for 3 and 3 green, you get a sorcery. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may put up to 2 permanent cards with mana value 5 or less from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, and you can flash it back for 7 and 3 green. Got a Covetous Castaway, Unnatural Moonrise, and a Loyal Griff as our uncommons. Right there. And the rest of them are there as well. Man, this has been a real good pack. Man, this pattern's sort of been squished in a little. Alright. Alright, so our checklist card. We've got our Decayed token. We've got a Foil Secrets of the Key. We've got a Forest. And we've got a Ludwig Necrogenius in the regular artwork, which is always nice to see. Got a Sunrise Cavalier, Purifying Dragon, and Ritual of Hope as our uncommons for the pack. And next one. Checklist card, we've got an Elemental token, got a Forest. Oh, we've got another mythic in Moonvale Regent. So for 3 and a red, you get a creature dragon, it's a 4/4 flying. Whenever you cast a spell, you may discard your hand. If you draw a card for each of that spell's colours. When Moonvale Regent dies, it deals X damage to any target where X is the number of colours you can among permanents you control. That's nice. We've got an Overwhelmed Archivist, Vampire Socialite, and a Moonsilver Key as our uncommons. And we will flick through the rest of these. Jeez, this box has been loaded. I can't get over how loaded this box feels. You know, we've got all the old Holy Vault art rares. We've got, we've never seen the clue token for this set. That's real cool looking. Got an island. Got a Dire Strain Rampage. So for 1 red and a green, get a sorcery. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or land. If a land was destroyed this way, its controller may search their library for up to 2 basic lands, put them onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Otherwise, its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, tap it, and then shuffle, and can flash it back for 3, a red and a green. Interesting. Got an Heirloom Mirror. I've seen this do some pretty crazy work. Dawnheart Mentors and Stormkirk Blood Thief as our uncommons. This is probably going to be in the set for this does not have reach for this set. Because, I mean, let's be real, that mentor is flying through the air. Alright. Next up. Checklist card, got a round 7 token. Got a plains. And our rare is Sarath the Viper's Fang. So for 2 and 2, you're any legendary creature, human warlock, it's a 3/4. Other tapped creatures you control have Death Touch. Other untapped creatures you control have Hexproof. 1 and tap to untap another target creature or land you control. Very, very nice. We've got a Vengeful Strangler, Join the Dance, and Sunset Revelry. I think we've seen the Harvesttide Infiltrator, but I'll show it again in case I haven't. As our cool alternate artwork card. More crut. Alright. We are getting to the bottom of the box, guys. I'm running out of things to, not necessarily talk about, but to open up. So we're coming to that time. Got our checklist card, got our day-night card, got a swamp. We have an Angel Fire Ignition, so for 1 red and a white, you get a sorcery. Put 2+1/+1 counters on target creature. It gains Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink, Indestructible, and Haste until end of turn, and you can flash it back for 2 red and a white. Got a Death Bonnet Sprout, Phantom Carriage, Sacred Fire as our uncommons. Again, I think I've shown you the Shady Traveler, but I will show you it again just in case, as our cool alternate artwork card. Oh, we've also got a Candlegrove Witch in the alternate art as well. So that's a 2-for-1 there. There's nothing better. Alright, next up. Okay, so got this. Got our human, we got our mountain. Hey, we have the Mask of Grizzleband. Hey, Grizzleband may be dead, but his mask is still around. So for 1 and 2 black, get a legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature has Firing and Lifelink. Whenever the equipped creature dies, you may play X life where X is its power. If you do, draw X cards, and you can equip it for 3. Got an Overwhelmed Archivist, Odric's Outrider, and Dissipate as our uncommons. Alright. Next up. Alright, so day, night, mountain, and our rare is the Graveyard Trespasser. So for 2 and a black, hit a creature, human werewolf, it's a 3/3. It's has Ward of Discard a card. Whenever Graveyard Trespasser enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. If the creature card was exiled this way, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. It has Daybound, so it can transform into the Graveyard Glutton, which is a creature werewolf. It's a 4/4. It still has the same ward cost and the same ability, except you can exile 2 target cards from graveyard. So that's our rare there. Got Dryad's Revival, Phantom Carriage, and Gavany Dawnguard as our uncommons for this pack. And if we don't get anything else, I'm perfectly fine, because, man, this box kind of spoiled us a little bit. Alright, next up. This is actually our second last pack for the box. A token. Got our Elemental. Got a foil Outland Liberator. We've got our forest, and we've got an Overgrown Farmlands. This is the green-white version of the land that we opened up earlier. I'm not going to read the effect, because the effect's exactly the same. We have a Village Watch, Blade Stitch Garb, and a Cathar's Call as our uncommons. We have a Tavern Ruffian in the cool alternate artwork, which I will flip. Whoops. Which I will flip and show you the other side of. And that's our common right there. Eaten Alive and Crawl from the Cellar. Very nice. Alright, last pack, everyone. Let's see if we can hope to get something really insane. Although, to be fair, this box has kind of overperformed. Alright, let's go. Alright, so we got our checklist card. Oh, we've got another ooze. Kind of want to open the creature that makes this. Plains. We have a Sun Gold Sentinel as our last rare. So for 1 and a white, you get a creature of human soldiers to 3/2. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. If you have Coven, you play 1 and a white, choose a colour. Sun Gold Sentinel gains hexproof from that colour until end of turn and can't be blocked by creatures of that colour. Activate only if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers. We have a Baneblade Scoundrel with the alternate artwork, which we will show you right there. That's really cool. Nebelgast Intruder and Necrosynthesis as our uncommons. And we will quickly flick through the rest of these, and that is done. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, favourite, and subscribe. It lets people know that we exist. You can follow me on Twitter, links down below, and you can find us at the Planeswalker Pantheon on Facebook. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.